the greatest story
Black Sun.
Why does everything before 1450 see churches do this? Great battle.
Let's make it force this one. Okay. Here it goes.
The many Masonic representations of the alchemists depict the sun and moon as reflected rays.
Moon.
I want some new
Firmament. Night and day.
everything brand new this is. Why spend my money when I can spend your money?
Money new too.
50 on the Prezi and
Earth.
New Earth. Nigga don't touch, yeah, smell
It's
like
all.
money and we smoking on. Honey in the pack, keep the bees wax. Iron Man's back, got my bitch.
Set Toroidal 369.
300-500 years ago, it was all inserted and we don't even know. And the firmament it came around and then we got celestial bodies
The Alchemist.
reflecting up off the ground to the black sun. And then in the core we got a vortex. Wait, yeah, there's more.
Bitch cry for me like brand.
Amira.
What are the coincidences that the alchemists, who probably didn't exist in the manner we are told they did, associated the moon with the very metal in which traditional photography is impossible without? This is not a coincidence. Those of the old world had a hand in rendering the image on the moon.
You saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without love.
And it's not a constant, fixed wall. It is continually melting and refreezing with the revolution of the pole over the course of a great year and each astronomical age.
Say
imagine if we didn't have any of that going on and we didn't have to eat, we didn't have to sleep, we didn't have to deal with health issues. Like, how could they control us? We would have been the giants of the land, the milk and honey, as Ramtha would say. We would have not been controllable at all because we wouldn't have to fight for survival. And now we're in a time loop that puts us in a fight for survival, where you are, as you and JC were talking about, obliged to live in this loop where you cannot tune into your intuition or your heart's truth. And when all that's gone, you would be magnificent master creators again. Would you not be creating the most extraordinary masterpieces of art and literature and music and architecture and science and fucking all sorts of things? Because we wouldn't have to do anything else. We literally would have been the gods, the Thors, the Asgard.
The creative gods.
An incarnation loop, a cyclic process, a loop, that you need to have that parameter of a loop going on in the brain, the way the brain is wiring and firing, in order to actually manipulate it, in order to actually program and control it. And they set it up with a time loop by removing the sun, introducing the night, introducing day, introducing time and space. And we've been trapped.
Just imagine never having the thought of what am I going to do tomorrow, because there is none. It would just be like an infinite whatever now, right? Like, it's just a completely different way of thinking, but that's really interesting, the loop, right? I mean, we wake up every morning, right? You know, people say we're reborn every day, right? Because that's what it does. If they put this on that recycle, then of course they can introduce, you know, repetition, jobs, and all this kind of stuff, and then you're completely in a loop.
It makes us.
If there was no night time, when are they going to tell you to turn up to work?
Yeah.
Because there's no time, right?
That's right. They need a container.
It would be very hard to sort of.
They need a container.
Which is their
artificial prison, Tartarus.
Had shut them up in the underworld, Tartarus. That's why the person sent me this link, and she actually told me that it's about Tartarus, and she wasn't sure whether this is Tartaria. And I was like, holy shit, this could be.
What if I told you that Tartaria wasn't just a country, but could potentially be the whole Earth? Well, let's investigate. Now look at this. Tartarus. Place where the wicked are punished after death. In synonyms as Gehenna, Hell, Inferno, Infernal region. So, see what I mean? It all starts to connect for me. Now, according to this mythology, it could be that Earth is prison. It's just like in an asylum, punishment, a place where the wicked are punished after death. Perhaps we lived somewhere else and we are punished to be here on Tartarus, right? They say that Elysium is something that is up there. Tartarus is something that is down there, say underworld. In God's perspective, who are living above the dome or outside the dome, Earth could be the underworld, because there's also the caves under that, which is the real underworld where the Titans could be, according to the mythology. So, a place where the wicked are punished after death. Death, Tartarus, the whole region of the Earth. That's crazy, isn't it?
They have night and days.
time and their space, and place a box.
Night and day. They need that container in order to enslave us. It says that Adam was made from the clay of the earth.
And we deem these people as the new arrivals or the reset people.
Virtually like creating humans there is what people think.
Than us, who are almost just as new.
They reconstructed the human being.
Now the world is grabbed, the whole world is here, but I can't have something.
I got their umbrellas because they can't handle the sun. Methodology used was I compared the 1450 map to 17th century moon map. I compared the 17th century moon map features to maps in all known history, and matched it to the 16th to 18th century land masses on those maps, including California Island. The 1450 map that we have and that made its way through history looks boring. It also references giant trees cut down, the Taurus field, the processions of the equinox, the zodiac signs. The ice in the correct concentric circles are a greater realm with more concentric circles. This was a pre-massive hidden post-1450 event. A reason why the map for 1450 was not used by 16th and 17th century sailors before the cartographic projection maps, and why the moon map was used, because it was a new inserted plasma X-ray phenomenon that is a composite image of a snapshot in time. And once I knew that, I wanted to, and then I looked at these maps tonight. It just all clicked in my head. And to be able to date the moon, because if you can date the moon was inserted with the rest of it, right? All of it, like the sun, moon, firmament, stars. So like dating the moon dates the others, and so like that land of milk and honey, the Asgards, the creator gods, it wasn't like I was thinking 4,000 years ago, right? It was like 350 years ago, and then it all got cleaned up and everything. They didn't have paved roads, but cleaned up enough, and they repopulated with us. The first, I'm just going to continue here. So this was a pre-massive hidden post-1450 event. Waters receded, X-ray composite plasma moon projected and imprinted the time period with it. Which is why that post-reset during the early repopulation, it could be used to travel. It was accurate. It was time relevant.
The alchemists designated the moon as having rulership over the metal silver. Silver nitrate goes by another name. They called it lunar caustic, rendering the image on the moon.
Than us, who are almost just as new. Post-reset destruction of anything and everything that we're living through still. Kind of slowed down after World War II. And it exists in secret societies. I'm telling you, I think this is true. What maps did sailors rely on when England first settled? Many documented the moon map to accuracy before the cartographic projections. But why? We already had maps, real maps. Why use the moon? Because a great reset happened after 1450, and the secret societies, the New World Order, knew about the insertion of time, day, night, and the insertion of the sun, moon, firmament, stars 300 to 400 years ago. I mean it. That's why that's what the map evidence tells us. Because the sun, moon, stars, firmament would all come together, and this is as recent as just before the first orphan-trained precursor people, which were grown to adults in those crystal palaces. By growing quickly to adults, they had to wear corsets due to the weak exoskeletons. Conclusion. I thought the sun and the moon were inserted around 4,000 years ago, post-Great Flood. This was the theory I just came up with. That was my new conclusion, actually, and that conclusion has changed. No, this was a few hundred years ago. We now have a date, in my opinion. You can see also the Tartaria australis host for implanting the second sun theory in my head, and this as a precursor to my new theory here that expands into the specifics and a lot of the details with logical pattern mapping and common sense connections. I'll attach in the post the maps I referenced, my first takes at the theory, which aren't this one, were like 10 minutes ago, so it'll be a little more raw. I didn't even understand the first time doing it that it was not 4,000 years ago. I thought I confirmed 4,000 years ago, but it took me a second in my second video clip take to realize, like, no.
Imagine how they would have to bring one such stone on a horse and cart. Look at the size.
Lines
will guide the planets, and love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius.
It's like, oh, wow. Like this past civilization may have come from either Atlantis, Lemuria, or Tartaria, as we so generally call it. A past and great civilization that rose to greatness and was wiped out because all of this architecture and doorways and sculptures were massive. We tend to believe that these may have been giants or just the people larger than us. There was a cataclysmic reset that wiped most everything out. And yet pockets of people and architecture and animals and massive trees survived. I think people in this past civilization would have survived this cataclysmic event. And I think they may have something to do with our repopulating and perhaps genetically modifying us, being in their image, but a little smaller. I think we were genetically engineered, populated, and distributed throughout the realm via orphan trains and many other modes that I believe are false histories. I think the same genetic race may have been used twice already in two different resets. We see reset evidence of giants, and we also see reset evidence of architecture that is much smaller, but clearly from a massive civilization, including such things as trains and infrastructure that are made for people of our stature. I think the controllers of this realm, which are similar to ourselves, were put in place by the true controllers of this realm, who to me are unknown, and perhaps are giants living beyond this realm. I have no doubt if there's another reset, they will repopulate and restructure the narrative, the timeline to suit the people.
This whole day and night cycle was implemented, right? And it's operated, and the true Garden of Eden is through that true north vortex at the very center of the moon. And everything also is above, so below, like below, and we can't go there, right? And we're way off. It's not where Mercator was a complete psyop. It's the true north, it's not the magnetic north as we're about
beliefs. The author talks about a monk who drew maps of the world. They believed at the time that there was a giant mountain in the center of the earth and that the sun went behind the mountain, and that's why it disappeared at night. Quick tangent I think you guys might find really interesting. So across all of like the ancient cultures, they all believed some variation of this idea that there's a mountain in the center of the earth, or that there's a world tree. In the Bible, we have the golden lampstand with the ball on top. As of right now, I believe that it's all the same concept. They were just describing it differently. So in the Norse mythology, Yggdrasil, I think that's how you say it, is the cosmically large ash tree. It's made of black ash that stands at the epicenter of the Norse cosmological system. That's literally just black rock. And I really think that there's a case to be made that when it says Noah and the ark rested on Mount Ararat, I think it was on top of the mountain in safety. I don't want to get too off track, but this is another 1800s book. It's called Paradise Found, The Cradle of the Human Race at the North Pole. They posit the exact same idea that the ark rested on top of like the central mountain. And I never realized it, but the Aryan word for Arctic literally has the word ark in it. So I'm telling you all of this because I want to show you this engraving that I have from the early 1800s. It's the appearance of the sky at Port Leopold, which is an island off the coast of Canada. I'm pretty sure it's just like a military base now. Does that not look exactly like the concept of a world tree, or like the menorah, the golden lampstand with the branches coming out? My theory is that this would be like the world tree or the golden lampstand, and Jesus put his church on the rock. I know like when he was talking to Peter, he was saying it more in like human terms, but I think he was making an analogy about like the rock down there, and that the branches of the golden lampstand have the 7 angels of the 7 churches, and they minister to whoever's in their church. I also have a forming theory that the New Jerusalem is right on top, and that when it descends, it comes down. Like I feel like the New Year's Eve ball drop is like a mockery of that, because a lot of this information, like if I can get the easy stuff in this
video,
let me know if you already know any of these, or if you have anything to add. I'd love to hear from you.
More because all of what I consider to be the very best, smartest, brightest, cognizant researchers in trying to put together our truth, Eve Waranon, Tartaria Australia. I don't consider myself that, but myself as well, like, and then this person in this video. So to start, Tartaria Australia is calling that magnetic, or the true north, where that vortex is, the Holy Grail. And the person in this video is calling it the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark, and assimilating it to Jesus and to that central point there. And then Waranon also talks about how it's so important that even those like old maps with it showing Antarctica, the land, and Black Rock, Earth's Negra is actually controlled opposition, and so a lot of flat earthers have cognitive dissonance with it. And the true north is like further up north, and almost impossible to get to by a compass.
even heading south from down there. Like it's so really interesting. So he's like claiming the importance of that site as well. All the ancient texts talk about that, and so like that magnetic, Mount Meru and Hyperborea is actually an obfuscation on these kind of recent maps, and Mercator was actually a fictional character. So that kind of ties into it too. And so I just find that all really interesting as far as like that sacred truth is at that vortex, and that all the religions point to, but they change the meaning and obfuscate it so much that we can't really find it. So God bless, take care. And to just take it one step further is a portal down through that vortex where everything underneath could be the true heavens, and it's what's coming up through that vortex. You can see the northern lights, you can the North Star, the sun and the moon reflection, that moon being a plasma X-ray phenomenon, and then the sun coming up as well through the black sun. And down there is where the true Garden of Eden would be, is kind of to tie that, why it's the Holy Grail and what about it makes it so important, because it's a portal to get out of this artificial prison.
But then you wake up and you start to see the obvious. Life is just a lie and this whole world ain't what we thought it was.
Support all my subscribers.
Taking away the sun, descending us into darkness, introducing the night, created a time loop.
Gotta update. So another thing lines up with this. It's all the puzzle, all right? It's like I did so much research for my timeline documentary. When I did, like, it's a ton of work together a full timeline, to be honest. Like every time a day I was doing this, like, why did you choose the timeline? I dated the start of that known period, 1450, which is the date I keep talking about now for this. Everything's lining up, right? That was the abandonment of the Norse settlements in Greenland. That was like the first known historical event here. So like, wild stuff.
100 years ago, a man named Enoch describes walking through the moon's interior levels, guided by beings of light, shown the mechanism that measures the night. The seventh chamber is still there, the wheel is still turning, and every 29 days, the moon completes another cycle.
It's just finally, I've been digging, and just like finally, I think I was able to put it together. So, and this isn't information anywhere.
He makes signs,
but the information
doesn't light up the moon. Who does? It is the black sun.
Like out there, and I just put it together, and it's not loading. Okay, so let me transition to a voice memo. I just want to get it out. Okay, I'm back, and so I date the moon's creation to after 1450 and before 1776 with high confidence. My methodology: what maps did sailors rely on when England first settled? Many documented that they used the moon map due to its accuracy in like the 16th or 17th century, before cartographic projection maps were made. But why? We had maps. I just posted a video on a 1450 map. Why use the moon? Because the moon wasn't there in 1450. And notice on the 1450 map too, they have Adam and Eve and the big tree, like that's the size of the tree of life that they also display on the map, being blown away. So they were aware of the Great Deluge, but that was not, I think, just as big or bigger of a reset, actually. From our perspective, at least since we can't see outside of the prison, like, happened right before we were inserted. The sun and the moon, the time, all of it. And my evidence, because these sailors, after 1450, didn't use the 1450s maps.
The fact that I just posted the circa 1450 map tells me something, because it looks so different than the newer maps, like the ones that look slightly different from now that have like Lemuria and California Island, right? So if you peg that time period between 1450, which is what I pegged it at, like 1700, that's like a lot of the temperature change that I think probably associated maybe with even it could be a magnetic bullshit, like some of that. But I'm saying is, because we have this 1450 map that looks so different, and because I have this 1600s moon map that's the 15 and 1600, like our explorers would use it because it was the most reliable map they had. stay with me here. So they couldn't rely on the 1450 maps because clearly they survived, right? But they just weren't accurate. And the moon map was more accurate, which kind of goes right on the theory I just posted that before the Great Deluge, it was all light 24/7. That we were nourished on the light. There was no time. There was no day. There was no go to work tomorrow because it was always now, the infinite now. It would be the Asgards, the creator gods, right? Like, and that if this, there's a firmament put on it, and they call it was Tartarus, the Tartarus prison dome, and this whole day and night cycle was implemented. Map and all the data about 4,000 years ago, like 4,008 years ago. All that was inserted, we were trapped here. And all the books say too, across all the religions, and that's the start of time, right? Time started then, literally, because there was no time before that. And why the maps are important to it is because we have the moon map in the 1600s that was more accurate than the 1450 map that was still around. And we know that the moon's now an X-ray plasma-based phenomenon. That's why it doesn't emit light. That's why stars can be seen through it. Ewarna, awesome job on that one. And then it all checked out. So that's what all the top scientists who were both agreeing were too. And we know it's like a composite image, plasma image, and that is also a snapshot in time. It's not a continuous photo. And that's what I was already onto that because of the California island in it and stuff. And it makes sense. So it's that period between the second reset. So I think there was people called themselves based on the prison lands. We are the prison land people, the Tartarians. And what happened is too many people knew about that truth of how this is all inserted and all that. And that's why we want to go back up the light frequency to heaven. Second sun, we're waiting on the return of the sun, and go back up to herd descent. And so what I'm saying is we have the time. I think that's confirmatory, another piece confirming my thinking on the moon map is a snapshot in time, and it was the best map for the 1600s, but not the 1450s, right? So a lot happened because I think we had to erase the full knowledge of the pre-deluge. They're this isn't working. There were still giants in the being painted and stuff. They're this isn't, we can't control this society, and they wiped it clean and reinserted and repopulated with us in the 1800s. So we're the second, that was the trap, but kind of a reset because it was such a catastrophe. And this is we're in the third or fourth astrological age. We haven't gone through one great year yet. So kind of expanding on my theory here based on those two maps. I think I put together a piece there. I think a big breakthrough tonight.
Energy existed in the 1800s.
Quick video. This guy, he's me. I'm thinking exactly like he's thinking. So this has been fun so far. Hope you guys are enjoying.
Man, I just get off work and I just be in a daze. I don't know what it is, but there's a major part of me in my soul that does not want to participate in this shit anymore. I know we gotta survive. I know we need money. I know these things, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, I'm actually working a trade. I'm actually an electrician, apprentice, which is good, but at the same time, I'm not satisfied. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know if it's because I'm losing attachments to this world, and it just doesn't satisfy me anymore. It doesn't give me that sense of happiness like it used to. I don't know if it's because I'm with age, I'm 36, so maybe this is just a normal thought process, but I catch myself in a daze majority of the time. I'm just thinking what am I doing this shit for? What is it for? It's just a loop, bro, that I'm keen to see exactly for what it is, and I just can't stop seeing. I can't stop recognizing the loop that we have to go through over and over and over and over. And it's not a sad feeling. I guess it's kind of a sad feeling, but it's a bitter sweet. It's not even a sweet feeling. It's just a bitter, unworthy type feeling. I know my worth, but it's just I feel unworthy. I don't know if that makes sense. guess my sense of fulfillment and joy it feels very lost right now. It feels like I'm forcing my way through life as far as like work, as far as like, just trying to survive. It's just a forceful feeling, bro, that I wish I could kick it. I wish I could kick that shit. Like, bro, it's just, I know, does anybody else feel like this? But I know it's probably people out there that feel the exact way I feel, but god damn. It gets to a point, I just feel like, fuck, what am I doing this shit for? Like, and how long is it gonna take till I'm satisfied, or how long, if will I ever be satisfied?
You know the truth, like your phone knows the time. You set it and forget